in Mexico, there was a big unveiling of what these officials said were 1,000-year-old mummies. That they say were not human and never human. And the working theory, at least at this unveiling, was these could be aliens. It sounds crazy, but there is some science here that's troubling to posit that these are human remains.
It's something to seriously consider, though, because I think they found that over 30% of the specimen's DNA is unknown. Now, if it was a little bit of a shorter percentage than that, I'll be like, okay, maybe it's not likely. But 30% is a large sample of DNA, you know, for an unknown species.
The first thing you have to understand is that Jaime Maussan, to put it lightly, he's like the Barnum and Bailey of the Latin community. Right? I have never known him to personally hoax something, but he will promote a hoax. He will take that hoax and knowing that it's a hoax, just keep talking about it, putting it out there.
So he's a grandstander.
Oh, absolutely. He doesn't care really if it's real or not, but we need to look at each case by case because there were scientists who tested the DNA.
What do they say they are?
These are actually, they are real people. These are mummies that are like 1,500 years old. So what's happened is they have been illegally looted out of Peru, because we do have to remember this is shown in Mexico, but it's from Peru. So they are illegally looted in Peru.
This is your field. How do you explain 30% DNA can't be accounted for?
It can just have a like negative reading. Like, oh, 30% of it's plastic. And so we looked for the DNA and gee, we got a 0 reading.
What is the other 70% made of in most of these? Like, are there any, like, is it a raccoon?
Oh yeah, it depends. They'll use different animals. It just depends. Oh, we'll put some chicken bones in here. It's whatever looks good.
It's Ripley's Believe It or Not, right?
It is, but since it's an actual ancient human that's like 1,500 years old, if you carbon-14 date it, it will date to 1,500 years old.
But there's some theories that humans were basically evolved from creatures from other planets. I mean, that is a theory among some folks, that isn't it? That somehow.
I love you look to Ben.
Are there some theories about DNA coming from other planets that are part of the human genome?
Well, as your resident conspiracy theorist here, the junk DNA theory that we ourselves have a significant portion of DNA that doesn't do anything. We don't know what it is. Can we unlock it? What does it do? And that's where that theory kind of spawns from, right? That we were planted here and then we're the offspring of hybridization of an ancient civilization.
Is it possible that these mummies were human and then once they were mummified, maybe the locals just started making their own stories?
That is true to the elongated skulls, right? The practice of elongating the skulls is a big problem because some of these people were misshapen. Right.
So they were, what, misshapen 1,000 years ago and that kind of went away?
Well, there were beauty. There were things they would do for beauty, for religious reasons, to elongate like a forehead or something, change, disfigure yourself.
Yeah, you're binding the skull from childhood in order to get that look because they did find that look.
I know, the Kardashians are looking for that.
I was gonna say, now.